It's hot as balls today. But we're not gonna talk about how hot I am. We're gonna talk about everything you need to know about single issues. So let's get right started. Also, sorry, you gotta deal with me with no makeup today. I'm not having it right now with this weather. So put your hair up in a bun. Get your notebooks out because you're gonna get tested after this. Let's go! Why are these still made in 2026? Thin, stable books we go crazy for every week. Single issues are inconvenient, expensive, take up space. You mostly have to pre-order them, store them afterwards, and they get renumbered when you least expect it. And yet, people still love them. And I'm one of them. Weekly trips to your local comic book store to pick up your pulls. They always tell the latest adventure of your favorite superhero with multiple variant covers. Monthly, so you're always up to date. But they do get pricey over time, and hey, why is my box space running out again? Personally, when I started reading comic books, I tried to steer far away from single issues. My rule was no single issues, no variant covers whatsoever. Guess who's laughing now? The problem is you can't really steer away from them, or my will just isn't that strong.
In brightest day,
in blackest night.
Either way, let me tell you everything I know about single issues. Make sure to send this video to a comic book newbie who wants to learn more about single issues. If you're looking for someone professional, it ain't me. Okay, first, what is a single issue? In one sentence, single issues are individual monthly installments of a comic book series, often called floppies or periodicals, typically spanning from 20 to 30 pages and featuring a single chapter of a story. Unless it's a Marvel comic, then you might get a little bit story with your advertisements. So single issues are typically the first format a comic story is released in before eventually being collected into a trade paperback, hardcovers, omnibuses, or even digital collections. Trades hold about 5 to 7 single issues, holding an entire arc or storyline. They can come in either a softcover or a hardcover. Let me show you the difference. This is Get Grayson in a softcover, and this Get Grayson in a hardcover. They have the exact same story, but the paper quality and some added bonuses is in the hardcover. The omnibuses can even hold up to 50 single issues, depending on their size. They mostly come out after a creative team, more to that later, have finished their run on a character or story. And digital is exactly what the title suggests. Issues or collected editions read online on a phone, tablet, e-reader, or PC. Many publishers have their own websites or programs you can subscribe to. Not sponsored, by the way. The most common type of single issues you will probably meet at your comic book store are ongoing series. They revolve around a specific character, team, or overall theme and run indefinitely by their publisher. But from the ongoings can sprout annuals. These are special issues that are longer than regular comics and often tell a self-contained story. If you're interested, I have a series where I explain comic book terminology, and one of the themes I already covered are annuals. So if you would like, watch it. They're completely skippable, but they are a nice added bonus if you would like that. But if we're talking about a big crossover event, you probably do want to read every issue that is connected to the story. Depending on which character or story, they are also completely skippable or can disrupt the current storyline in favor of the event. Once again, it's your choice. Do you want to read the entire event, or are you just interested in this character? So take your pick. There are also miniseries. Miniseries can be standalone or also an extended story of an ongoing. Most times these stories take place over the 6 to 12 issue arc. Last but not least, one-shots. One single issue tells an entire self-contained story. But as in with everything in comics, everything can be an exception. How do single issues get made? There are many people behind one single issue. That means a lot of jobs have to be filled. Let me run you quickly what each of them do. One creative team includes writers, artists, inkers, colorists, letterers, and editors. Sometimes a person can take over multiple jobs or even do it all on their own, especially in indie comics. Writers will write, creating the plot and characters. Think of it almost like writing a script, but there are no rules on how to write a script. The artist takes those notes and will draw accordingly. Then the inkers go over the pencil with ink to make them dark enough to print, filling in areas that should be all black and adding texture and details. The colorist brings life to pages with their colors. The letterers tell us the written story, as speech bubbles and sound effects like piff, pow, and bam. The overseer of them all is the editor. All of production consults with the writers on the storylines at a larger level, as with the artists and letterers on things, make sure all the pages get done on time. Essentially, the editor is the captain of the ship, making sure they are smooth sailing and arriving on time. After a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears, we finally have our single issue. That goes to the printer and we finally get our monthly single issue, delivered at your local comic book store. The anatomy of a comic book. On the front, there is a cover. Staples hold together the pages. The spine is very thin. In the interior pages, they are mostly a credit page, story pages, backup stories, previews, ads, editorial pages, and a back, of course. Understanding covers. Now let's look a bit closer at the cover. What most readers that go to their local comic book store will get is the standard A cover. A covers are the OG clickbaiters. They often depict a highly dramatic moment of the story that may not even take place in the way you'd expect. But what does ABC even mean, Diana? Let me get to the point, please. Take your time with me, okay? A variant cover is an issue of a comic book printed with multiple different covers, each with a unique art piece on the cover. Fun fact, the very first variant cover was Man of Steel in 1986. It featured 2 different covers by artist John Bryan. Also, pro tip with DC covers. Let me show you. If you have a variant cover of a DC comic, the original A cover is printed underneath. So in case you missed getting the A cover, you can basically just rip this off, or if you want to hang it up. Me, I like them intact, but to each their own. I like to hang them up as they are. Oh my god, there's a fly, I'm sorry. A lot of people hang them up and do their monthly comic book wall, which is very cool, but I'm just too lazy to do that. I'm probably gonna hang these down and do like a little wall here. Not what I wanted to talk about today, but sure. So you are in a comic book store, but you are confused on whether your comic is a variant cover or the A cover. Let me show you. Each comic has their own unique barcode. You don't gotta look at the big one, you have to look at a small one. This one right here. There are different numbers on here. The first one is being 136, which refers to the issue number. Then the 2 means the variant cover. So 2 is the B cover and 1 would be the A cover, etc., etc. And last but not least, the 1 at the very end tells you on which print number we are. So this is the first print. Now you can read a comic book without even having to look inside. We can go over different types of variants in another video because I think this video will already be very long, I fear. So if you're interested, comment down below if you want to know what an incentive is or virgin covers or etc, etc. And with Marvel variant covers, they mostly tell you right here that it is a variant cover, but also here they have a little barcode if you want to know more about it. Here's also a little handy guide if you want to screenshot it. Numbering can be weird. Publishers frequently do relaunch books with a new number 1 issue to lure in new readers. At the same time, they may continue a legacy number. That's why you might see multiple issue 1s for the same characters over the years. Now that you know everything you need to know about single issues, you probably want to grab some yourself. And you also want them monthly, or else you'll miss out. Hashtag FOMO. The easiest way to do this is through a pull list. A pull list is a subscription service at your local comic book store. You go up to your favorite comic book clerk, you tell them to which series you want to be subscribed to, and you will get notified monthly when they come out. And you gotta pick them up, of course. And don't forget to respect the FOC, no matter if variant or not. The FOC is the final order cutoff. Like books, single issues have a first print. And if you're a collector, these are the most valuable, and also the chances of getting a specific variant are slimmer if you don't pre-order. So, me personally, I am subscribed through different channels. I have one at my local comic book store, which is Kaboom Entertainment. Very good comic book store in the middle of Zurich. Go visit it if you're in town. I'm also subscribed through Midtown Comics, which do take a little bit longer to arrive since I'm out of the US, so I get my comics mostly a month later. Good thing, if you are subscribed at your local comic book store or wherever, you don't have to think about the FOC because you are already subscribed. If you're a lot on the go or don't have a local comic book store, I highly recommend Walt's Comic Book Shop, especially if you're located in Europe. With the Managed Comics app, you can easily set up ongoing polls, pre-order special issues, and keep track of upcoming releases all on their web shop. It's very easy, just follow these steps. Make an account on Walt's Comic Book Shop and definitely put in your home address, or else you don't get them delivered. Click on pre-order with Managed Comics and choose the publishers you want to be subscribed to and the title. Choose whether you want the A or a variant cover. You can always change your picks during your subscription and boom! The next delivery date, your single issues will be delivered to your home without having to worry about the FOC. I would also highly recommend subscribing to their newsletter because they are very funny and entertaining and informative. Go get your monthly comics, everybody! Feels like Christmas every month. How do I find out what's dropping next? Before the FOC date, there will be multiple announcements through different publishers. Pick out your publishers or characters you're interested in and keep out an eye on them through multiple channels like social media, other cool people who also do comic videos on the internet, and of course the old school way through newsletters. If your local comic book shop is as cool as mine, they also carry solicits. They're basically just magazines with previews in them on what's dropping next. So very cool, and you're always up to date. So now that you have gotten your comics and read them, you want to store them properly. For me, it was important to keep them safe and organized, and also in a way that doesn't take up a lot of space. I like to bag and board them. There's a whole variety of comic boxes, but I personally like to use blank carton short boxes, and I put the bag and board comics in them. I use these backing boards by Ultimate Guard, and of course resealable comic bags, also by the same company. And obviously I use the current size because most comics I get are new releases. I once again did my own dividers because I like the design on them and it's very easy to do, and it literally costs nothing if you already have the backing boards. A single long box holds around 250 to 300 issues, so think of that when it comes to storing them. There are so many creative ways you can store them. Do whatever you like. It's a free country. If the comic book police comes and knocks at your door, tell them you know me and you're good, okay? Alright, you get a free pass because you know me. A big part of collecting comics is also grading them. Me personally, I don't own a single graded comic. I'm the wrong person to ask for advice on them, I'm very sorry. But here are a few cool videos that explain them very well if you're interested in collecting graded comics. Before you sacrifice your wallet to the comic book single issue gods, remember, you can always read them online first. That's what I did when I started reading comics, since I didn't really have access to a comic book store or money. If I don't feel like I'm gonna reread them, they do not belong on my shelf. They might be good, but I need them to be better. If you do not have access to any of these online subscription services, there is always your local library. You can always ask your librarian if they could order a certain comic or if they do have the fund for a digital subscription. Because I know they do it with ebooks and audiobooks and magazines, whatever. I think they can afford a comic book subscription. Also, if you do read digitally, you do save money and you also don't have the hoarding problems. A win is a win. Be a reader first, a collector second. That's my go-to. Who am I to judge? Why do single issues still exist? I think that's a question everybody has to answer on your own. You have earlier access to stories, you get to be part of the conversation in the community. Obviously collecting is a big part. Supporting creators and your local comic book shop is also very important. Habit or simply nostalgia. The biggest fraud of them all. That's pretty much everything I have on single issues. If I forgot anything, I'm sorry. We live in a perfect world. Sorry, you perfect sisters and brothers. but also let me know what I missed. Nevertheless, I am Deanna.Kinnie. You can find me here on YouTube or on Instagram, and also on my podcast, which I haven't updated in a hot minute. Oops. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.